Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my review for Blue Beetle, which is, according to Wikipedia, the 14th movie in the DC Extended Universe, which, I guess it was made while the DC Extended Universe still had some life in it, but really there's no major connections with anything in that franchise, and I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to retroactively make this part of the new DC Universe. But whatever the case, this movie follows Jaime Reyes, played by Xolo Maridueña from Cobra Kai, as he comes home to his family after graduating college, only to find out that his family is now flat broke, and they're probably going to lose the house unless he and his sister, more him, get a job. So one day, after being set up with an interview with this big weapons manufacturing company, Cord Industries, one of the higher-ups responsible for it has stolen something valuable and gives it to Jaime for safekeeping, tells him, don't open it. Whatever you do, don't open it. But he takes it home, his family opens it, he touches it, and it's this weird blue scarab that attaches to his face and transforms him into the superhero called Blue Beetle. And it's a race against time to pretty much get this thing out of him, hopefully in time before the head of Cord Industries, played by Susan Sarandon, picks it up for herself. Given how I feel about superhero movies this year in 2023, I wasn't overly excited for Blue Beetle, and I think a lot of us have been experiencing superhero fatigue this year already. I wasn't a fan of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I'm close to hating Secret Invasion. Shazam! Fury of the Gods sucked, The Flash sucked, and the only two good superhero movies out there were Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Across the Spider-Verse. But those aren't really good odds if more than half of the movies that came out this year were not very good. So I'm putting Secret Invasion aside in this argument and staying to movies. And with the DC Extended Universe, with 3 flops in a row, I just had no hope for this franchise. They got Aquaman 2 coming out this year, maybe next. We haven't seen a trailer for it yet, but it's coming, and it's going to be the final film in that series. So with Blue Beetle, I'm very happy to report that this is another good superhero movie this year. It does feature a lot of elements that you'd expect from these movies, like the big CGI battles and all the cool superhero stuff, and it's actually pretty well done. I don't have much to say about those aspects of the film, but the thing that really makes this movie for me is the family dynamic. Every member of the Reyes family is very likable, very funny, charming, and it's a believable dynamic. This movie is very Latin heavy, and the importance of family has always been an aspect that's important to Latinos, so it's very cool that they played into this aspect of the movie and doesn't apologize for it at all. Xolo Maridueña is really good as Jaime Reyes. He's a very charismatic lead, and as the character, you really get why the Blue Beetle scarab chose him to become this superhero, because he just seems like an all-around nice guy, and he's willing to put others, especially his family, ahead of himself. Like, the second he graduates and comes back home to find out that his family's broke and they lost their business, he is willing to try to help them as much as he can, even though he doesn't have a job at the beginning of the film. So it makes him totally believable for him to be this superhero, even if a lot of this movie is him learning the ropes on how to basically handle this costume. Belissa Escobedo is really funny as Jaime's sister, Adriana Barraza is really good as the grandmother, and George Lopez might actually be the funniest character in this movie as Jaime's uncle. He comes across as sort of a conspiracy nut, but I found him to be really funny. He had some absolutely hilarious reactions to scenarios that happen throughout. He's a really savvy tech guy in a way. And compared to Brian Tyree Henry from Godzilla vs. Kong, another conspiracy theorist-like character, I didn't find him anywhere near as obnoxious because his jokes actually worked and weren't cringeworthy. So while there are a ton of funny moments with this family, and the movie's at its best when it's focused on them, there are some heavy emotional scenes, especially when we get towards the beginning of the third act, and it makes all the superhero bits that much more impactful, because if I don't care about what's going on with these characters, then why should I care about the superhero bits? And that's ultimately the reason why I'm starting to get superhero fatigue, and the best way to get rid of it is just make a good movie. Like, give us characters that we like, have us be invested in them, and we'll care about all the superhero bits, even if it's been done to death in the past. However, if there's one superhero aspect that I don't think really worked in this movie, it would be the villain side. Susan Sarandon plays the film's villain, and she's pretty much the big CEO of this weapons manufacturing company, almost like Obadiah Stane from the first Iron Man, or Dick Jones from RoboCop. I just didn't find the character to be that interesting, and Susan Sarandon does the best she can with this material. She's not bad at all, her character's just not super interesting. But, I mean, the movie's not about the villain, and with so many other Marvel movies with weak villains, I let those slide because of how well they get the hero right, and I'm willing to do the same with this movie because Blue Beetle is a ton of fun. It's not a complete breath of fresh air when it comes to the genre, but it's very entertaining, very heartfelt, and has a lot of elements that reminded me of the first Spider-Man and Iron Man movies, but in the best ways possible. I would ultimately say worth seeing in your lifetime. I really enjoyed this movie. It had a great pace. The look of the city is fantastic with sort of a 80s techno look, and the score, which also has a tech feeling to it, is fantastic as well. I would not be surprised at all if they decide to retroactively make this part of the new DC universe rather than the DCEU, because I was told there was a reference to Man of Steel in this film and Henry Cavill, but the only thing that they have in this movie is that they reference Superman, Flash, and Batman by name. But outside of that, there's absolutely nothing that links this movie with the previous DCEU movies. This is very much a standalone, and I could very much see this branching out into the new universe. And I'm excited to see where the future of this movie and character goes. So yeah, I definitely say worth seeing in your lifetime. And there you go, that's my review for Blue Beetle. I hope you enjoyed it, and now I want to know what you guys think about the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day, and take care of yourselves.